Hello everyone, my name is True, and before we hop into today's video, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on today's video. Please consider taking a second to hit the like button if you enjoyed the content or hitting the dislike button if you don't. And while you're at it, if you are not already, please consider subscribing to the channel. It's the best way to support me and it only takes one click. And with all of that being said, enjoy the video. You are now watching the True TCG. Hey, how's it going guys? True here, and in today's episode of Bad Deck Monday, we will be taking a look at the brand new Greninja V from the new set Fusion Strike. Overall, Greninja V is a very lackluster card for many reasons. Its first attack, Water Drip for 2 energies, only does 40 damage. Now this is very bad compared to Suicune V's attack, which only costs 2 energies and can easily hit over 200 damage. So that's just a little side-by-side comparison. And its second attack, Dancing Shuriken, flip 3 coins. This attack does 80 damage for each heads, which is essentially a worse Wailord V. But in today's episode, we're going to try to make the frog work. Okay, so this deck is essentially a core build of Suicune V, Ludicolo with the Inteleon engine, but instead of Suicune, we have Greninja. Now, what is great about the Drizzile engine is that it allows us to set up our Greninja Vs a lot easier by allowing us to have a more direct access to our Melanies, which can allow us to pull off a Dancing Shuriken turn 2. Now, you might ask yourselves, well, this is all a coin flip. How can we guarantee ourselves at least like 2 heads or 3 heads? Well, we played a stadium Glimwood Tangle from Darkness Ablaze. Glimwood Tangle states, once during each player's turn after that player flips any coins for an attack, they may ignore all results of those coin flips and begin flipping those coins again. So say we flip 1 heads or 0 heads, we can reflip the coin and hopefully hit at least 2 or 3. Now, in order to boost Greninja V's damage, we actually do play Ludicolo. Ludicolo states, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may use this ability. During this turn, your basic Pokemon's attacks do 100 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. This is a very powerful ability, because if we manage to pull off a enthusiastic dance and hit 2 heads on Dancing Shuriken, we hit 260 damage, and combined with Inteleon's quick shooting ability, this can easily set up KOs. So overall, Ludicolo is a great partner for Greninja V for this very reason. And say we do manage to flip 3 heads on Dancing Shuriken, we would be hitting 340 damage if we were able to also use Enthusiastic Dance, which is enough to essentially KO every VMAX in the game. So overall, this is essentially a core build of Suicune. There's really nothing too spectacular, nothing too out of the ordinary of this build here besides the Glimwood Tangle, which is to synergize with Greninja V. And to be honest, that's really all I have to say for the deck. There's really nothing too noteworthy here. 7 water energies to capture. We do play Cape of Toughness, of course, to boost our Greninja V's health and to make it so that we don't necessarily get directly one-hit KO'd by Mew VMAX, and a couple of other cards. But yeah, that's really all I have to say for the deck. We play rare candies to evolve into our Ludicolos from our Lotads, of course. And with all of that being said, let's hop into some games. Alright, so hopping into our first game with the Greninja V deck against Square 623. Good luck to him or her. We're gonna try to win this game. We're gonna try to win 1 game in this video with our bad deck. So we're gonna go first here. Let's see what our starting hand looks like. The starting hand's definitely not ideal. Yeah, this is not looking good, but fortunately for us, at least our opponent's taking a mulligan, so we have a chance to draw into many of our outs for some basic Pokemon, and it looks like we are actually up against Zacian. So this matchup's not great, it's not terrible. We do have to keep in mind they do probably play 1 or 2 Tool Scrappers, so we want to be timely with our Capes of Toughness. So yeah, let's see what our opponent's got going for them. Yeah, the starting hand's not looking great. Of course, we definitely want access to a Sobble and a Greninja V turn 1, which we don't have access to either of them at the current moment. So let's see what we get off this mulligan. Another water energy is atrocious, and the Melanie draw is not great either. So our opponent opted to bench the Zamazenta, which I don't like because this is definitely not used in every single matchup, so I don't like that play from our opponent. I think I just attached the active here to set up a potential call for family the next turn, and I think I just pass over to our opponent. Yeah, not a whole lot going for us this turn, unfortunately. No level ball, no quick ball for us to use. So yeah, we just have to make do with whatever we got. I didn't want to burn our Capacious Buckets quite yet. This would have thinned our deck for us to potentially increase our chances of drawing into and out for some basic Pokemon. But yeah, just didn't want to burn them too early, because in case our opponent Marnie does, I didn't want all those water energies to go to the bottom of the deck. So let's see what our opponents got going for their first turn here. They're taking their time deciding. We don't see a Zacian V yet from them on the bench, which is a good side, but they probably have something like a Quick Ball in their hand, and they're actually starting with Primate Wisdom here, which is a pretty good sign for us. That probably indicates that they're either about to play a Research, which is solid because they have a 6-star hand, and they Quick Balled. So I'm assuming that they intentionally used Primate Wisdom first. I'm assuming they didn't purposely mess up the sequencing, because they definitely shuffled the deck with by using Quick Ball. So if they put an energy on top of the deck with the intentions of using Intrepid Sword to get into it, they would have messed it up, but it looks like they didn't. They're going to use the Rotom Phone here, and then there's the Research. So our opponent definitely getting a perfect start for them. I don't really like the switch, but I guess it doesn't really matter. They've got a lot of things going for them here, and yeah, I think we're just going to be we're definitely very behind here, and they even get the energy off of the Intrepid Sword. So, and yeah, our draws are just not looking good. I'm going to scoop it up here, to be honest. I don't really think there's a real reason for me to continue. Our opponent probably has a boss's orders in hand, or at least a Rotom Phone to find a boss's orders, and I think at this point it's going to be very difficult for us to find a way to KO the Zacian V, if I'm being honest. So I guess we can just go for Call for Family, try to make something work, get out a Sobble and a Greninja V. But if our opponent bosses our Greninja V, I don't think we have a chance of coming back. So yeah, let's see if our opponent has the boss. If they have the boss, we just concede. We had an unfortunate starting hand, which doesn't always happen, but it did happen in this game, unfortunately. So let's see if our opponent has the boss. And actually, we can't even set this Greninja V up for a Dancing Shuriken next turn, I just realized. So we would have to go for a Cape, hit this for 10, and hope that it died the following turn, because yeah, we can't use Dancing Shuriken, so we would have to Melanie or Raihan. We would have to attach, hit this for 40, bump their Stadium, and try to go for Dancing Shuriken the following turn to KO it, which sounds kind of hard to do, I'm not gonna lie. But by the looks of it, our opponent doesn't have the boss's order, so we are technically still in this. Unfortunately, our hand is not looking the greatest, if I'm being honest. So we can evolve into this Drizzile, and I don't even think we can really go for the Melanie or Raihan play. Our opponent has the Crystal Cave in play. We can go for a Raihan. We can Raihan to the Greninja V. But then we would have to, okay, so if we hit this for 40 and they healed 30, that would leave 10 damage on it. We'll leave it at 260, and then next turn we could potentially set up a KO by utilizing Inteleon's Quick Shooting and flipping 3 heads. I actually think I might just have to go for that game plan. So I think we utilize the Raihan here, grab the Raihan, can play the Raihan, go for a Cape of Toughness ourselves, attach it to the Greninja V, and hope that our opponent doesn't have access to a Tool Scrapper. Most of the time, our opponent does not play Tool Jammer, so I'd imagine that we're probably safe from that. And yeah, let's just go for the Water Drip here. I'm going to be hitting our opponent for 40 damage, but essentially 10 damage because they do have access to that Crystal Cave. So let's see what our opponents got going for them this turn. Definitely hoping that they don't have a Tool Scrapper for one, or just, I don't know. Yeah, that's essentially all we're hoping that our opponent doesn't have. So let's see what they've got going for them. Yeah, next turn we're looking to set up another Greninja V on the bench, potentially, and another, yeah, we're in a pretty bad scenario because next turn we will have to attach to the active, and by the looks of our hand, we're not going to be able to get another energy onto a bench Greninja V, so we would probably have to go for a turn where we just use another Water Drip. And it looks like our opponent has access to a Brave Blade this turn, but they did have to burn a couple of resources, so that's not the end of the world. Yeah, they didn't have an Air Balloon on this Oranguru, so I'm definitely pretty happy about that. And our opponent actually researched away a Crystal Cave, which is good news for us. And there's the Air Balloon I was talking about that our opponent probably wanted to have, so they could have just switched and retreated, but they didn't have access to it. Our opponent's going to Metal Saucer onto the Zamazenta V, and yeah, things are not looking great for us, to say the least. So there's another metal saucer. So our opponent's actually down all 4 metal saucers, which is definitely pretty impressive because they have 25 cards left in deck and they've already seen all of them. And there's a Scoop Up Net top deck that's actually not terrible, I'm gonna be honest. Let's play the Evolution Incense, and yeah, actually the Scoop Up Net's definitely feeling like a little bit of an unfortunate top deck. We can go for the big Inteleon here. Use this and then we can actually Scoop Up Net it, but I don't know if I necessarily want to get rid of it. I guess it's not terrible, so let's go for this here. Let's evolve, let's go for quick shooting, hit the active for 20 like I said last turn, and yeah, let's play the Scoop Up Net here because we can use this Drizzile to get out our Glimwood Tangle, and yeah, hopefully we draw into a water or capture energy. One of the two would be a very ideal for us here. Yeah, we have a good bit of outs there. We have approximately 7 energies left in the deck, and I'm pretty sure we have both Capacious Buckets as well. And let's play the research. Let's see if we can hit it here. And there's a water energy, there's a quick ball, all pretty good cards to see. So let's attach a water energy for 1. And we can potentially set up Ludicolo play next turn. So we have the Evolution Incense for the big Inteleon. I almost want to get rid of this Inteleon here, which doesn't feel great, but I don't really see many other cards to quick ball away. So we can actually also quick ball away the Ludicolo, which doesn't feel terrible. So yeah, I think I just start off with the quick ball on the Ludicolo. Hopefully we have one left in deck. We do, which is great news. We can grab another Greninja V. We can bench this. We can quick ball for we don't even necessarily have to quick ball for a Lotad this turn. I don't really think we need one on bench, so I'm not going to do it. Let's go for that Dancing Shuriken here. Hopefully we get 3 heads. That's a tails. That's a heads. That's a heads. That's not going to do it. Let's see if we can hit 3 heads here. Unfortunately, please. And we completely and utterly whiffed. So I'm going to scoop it up here. Yeah, we're just super behind now, and I don't think there's going to be a way we can come back from this because we don't even have a Dancing Shuriken set up for next turn. So yeah, I'm just going to scoop it up here. Not a whole lot we can do about it, and that's going to do it for game 1. Hopefully in the second game we get some better flips and a better setup. Alright, so hopping into our second game with Greninja V. We are up against Midwest Mac. Good luck to him or her. Let's call tails because tails never fails, and we do win the coin flip. So let's go first here. Hopefully we get a solid starting hand. And okay, we're taking a mulligan, so we don't know quite yet whether or not we have a good starting hand or not. But yeah, hopefully we do get one. Ideally we start Greninja. We have a Lotad on the bench and a Sobble. That would definitely be the optimal hand for us to have. So let's see what we can get here. Starting hand, not looking too good, not looking terrible either by all means. We don't have access to a Lotad, but we do have access to a Greninja V and the Drizzile for next turn. So I'm definitely not complaining too much here. And Evolution Incense is a pretty solid top deck as well. It looks like we're up against some form of single strike. So let's start off with the quick ball, get rid of a water. I bet our opponent's thinking they're up against Suicune, but just wait until you see the Greninja V. So we're gonna grab the Greninja V here. Our opponent probably feels some sort of element of surprise because they're up against such a bad deck. And we can grab out a Sobble or a Lotad. I feel like just grabbing a Sobble here is probably the best play to make. The reason being, we probably don't need to utilize Ludicolo next turn because our opponent's probably gonna leave the Houndour in the active, I'd imagine. So let's just go for the Sobble here. And I think we can just, and I think we're just safe with passing over to our opponent. Yeah, this feels fine. So let's go ahead, pass on over to our opponent next turn. Fortunately for us, we do have access to a Melanie with this Drizzile, and with our second Evolution Incense, we can also grab a Scoop Up Net. So we do have access to an attack, and our opponent opts to grab out a Quillfish, which is interesting. I haven't really seen this played anywhere, so definitely very interested to see what we're up against here. That is their attachment for turn. They already did retreat, meaning they probably don't have access to a Switch or Air Balloon in their hand, and they're just gonna pass. So actually, we might actually be able to win a game, which is fantastic. So let's go for this Drizzile here. I think this just grabs us the Melanie overall, which feels fine. So yeah, let's go for this here. Let's grab the Melanie I was talking about, and hopefully we hit either a Scoop Up Net or a Scoop Up Net or a Glimwood Tangle off of this Melanie. So let's let's attach the water energy, draw 3 cards, and there is the Gloomatangle we wanted. So that is fantastic news. Let's play the Evolution Incense here. Go for a let's see, go for a Drizzile, I think feels fine, or we can actually just grab this Inteleon for next turn. I definitely don't hate the thought of that. And we can Level Ball for a Scoop Up Net instead, because currently we don't really have much of a hand working for us, so I think I'm just gonna opt to do that instead. So yeah, let's do this here, and our opponent's definitely not set up, so I feel okay not having a Lotad on the bench so far. So I think this is probably the better line of play to make. Yeah, I was thinking I was gonna grab the Drizzile with the Evolution Incense and grab a Lotad with the Level Ball, but I realized our hand wasn't that great, so I feel like this is a better route to make. And actually, with this Scoop Up Net, we actually guarantee a weighted C draw next turn, so maybe this was a little bit of a misplay on my part, because I forgot about that. So let's attach the water energy to the active. Don't have to play the bucket quite yet, and let's go for that dancing shuriken here. Heads, and tails. Okay, so no, we do not want to flip again, and we do KO our opponent's Coalfish. We do get a couple of damage on ourselves, but that's perfectly fine here. Let's take our one prize card. It is a Gloomatangle, which is a pretty nice card to have right now, because if our opponent plays down like something like Tower of Darkness, then we do have an answer to it. So yeah, our opponent's going to go for a Houndoom here. I'm a little curious to see what our opponent's deck is overall, and what decisions they're going to make this turn, because they are definitely a little bit behind right now. But by all means, they could just bench an Umbreon V, use 2 single strike roars, attach to it, switch, and KO our Greninja V. I wouldn't be terribly surprised to see that. It's happened to me before, but it looks like our opponent's just gonna opt to go for a Bite or a potential Darkness Fang. So our opponent attaches the second single strike energy, and they're gonna go for a research here. Oh, it looks like we are up against a budget deck, a single strike Urshifu deck. So this just goes to show how much elo I have dropped since I'm playing Greninja V. So normally you don't usually see budget decks, but hey, looks like we are up against one, and then they bench this Viper. So yeah, so this is definitely going to be a very interesting match, I imagine. They're going to grab a Houndour here, and let's read what this does. So if this Pokemon has any damage counters on it, this attack does 100 more damage. So our opponent's going to be hidden pretty hard too, so we do have to be a little bit careful, and our opponent's just going to go for a Bite, which is good, since this turn we can actually just go for the Water Drip and the KO our opponent. That way we don't have to risk the coin flips, which I definitely do like. So I feel like we can just Drizzile, go for a Quick Ball, and yeah, so we can grab a Quick Ball from this. We can Capacious Bucket, set up another Greninja V, so we can Quick Ball away to Water Energy. We grab from Capacious Bucket. So this is definitely a pretty good setup we have going for ourselves right now. So yeah, we won't even really have to utilize Ludicolo this game. So that's also a pretty good thing, I guess, since we don't have to set it up and everything. Let's go for this Greninja V here, and yeah, so we can bench this. Probably just start off by playing the Melanie here, attaching the water energy there, playing the capture energy. Probably just gonna grab out another. I guess we can grab out a Lotad. We can use a water drip for 140 damage actually, which is enough to KO a single strike Urshifu V at full health. So I guess that's probably fine. So we can just grab out this Lotad for next turn, or one of the future turns, I guess. We can throw down this Gloomatangle. We can play this Inteleon if we really want to. Is there anything we really need to grab? I don't really think so. Cape of Toughness isn't going to save us from really anything here. Our opponent, we can grab, yeah, I don't really think I need to play anything else. Let's just go for the Water Drip and KO our opponent's active. And yeah, let's see if our opponents manage to set up an attack this turn. They do have to find an Urn of Vitality in order to attack, since they are down 3 single strike energies, which is good news for us. So there is a single strike bearer. They can actually KO us with Field Crush, but they still have to find an Urn in order to do so. And there's an Urn of Vitality here. They're going to shuffle back in 2 single strike energies back into their deck, and they're going to go for that single strike roar, attach a single strike energy here, and attaching a dark energy. So they actually missed the KO. That's huge. They're just going to hit 70 damage. They are going to get rid of our Gloomatangle, unfortunately, but that's actually not the end of the world, if I'm being honest. In this turn, we can actually move this to the bench and actually attack with this Greninja V. So we're actually looking like we're in a pretty darn solid spot. So we can just go for a water drip, I think. Let's go for this Inteleon. We can go for a rare candy this turn, and I don't even mind going for a scoop up net, to be quite honest, to reset this Inteleon. Or we can, an alternative to this would be going for a quick shooting, but to potentially set up some KOs on these Houndours. I actually think I like that route a little bit better since we have a Marnie in hand. So that feels okay, I guess. So yeah, because eventually our opponent's going to be able to set up and one-hit KO our Greninja Vs. So I feel like just maybe setting up the quick shooting Inteleon is an alright play to make. So let's rare candy here. Let's rare candy this Ludicolo. This makes it so that we don't have to play down our Glimwood Tangos. And yes, I would definitely like to do 100 more damage this turn. So the Evolution Incense, grab out a quick shooting Inteleon, and we can start pinging these bears. Or we can actually potentially ping the Houndour as well. I wouldn't hate doing that. But I think for the most part, we can just start pinging the bears since they are the primary threat on board. So let's retreat, pay the 2 retreat cost here. Go into our Greninja V. I think attaching to the bench feels okay. And yeah, we don't have to throw down the Glimwood, we don't have to play the level ball, we can just attack, go for water drip, and we're perfectly fine. Yeah, we're water dripping for 140 damage, which is a pretty neat play you can do against single price decks, I guess. And we have a Sobble we can throw down next turn, which is fantastic. And overall, we are actually looking pretty solid against this one price deck. So let's see if our opponent manages to top deck anything. There is an Urn of Vitality, but that's not going to be enough really to do anything this turn. They can just use single strike or maybe set up a Seviper or this bear, but if they set up the bear, we're gonna ping it, so it's gonna be even closer to getting KO'd. And yeah, things are just not looking great for my opponent, which is good for us. I'm definitely happy that we can potentially win this game, and they actually opt to not use single strike roar, which is an interesting play. So they opt to go into the Seviper here. We can just start on the Glimwood now and go for the quick shooting on the bear. We are 2 turns away from KOing the bear. And yeah, let's just go for that dancing shuriken. There's a heads. Do we see another heads? We need another heads, and yes, we do get it. So no, I would not like to reflip. We KO the Seviper, and things are looking very good. So at this point, I don't think our opponent can necessarily win anymore. They'd have to draw extremely well and hope that we whiffed a couple KOs. And there is a bench. There's another Houndoom, but at this point, I don't think there's a whole lot. And there's the concession from our opponent. They don't have anything going for them. And that's going to do it for Bad Deck Monday number 2. I hope you guys enjoyed the Greninja V deck. If you did, please remember to like and subscribe. And as always, remember to have a good day, stay safe, and peace out.